Today we're going to learn a little bit about utilizing your Promethean board. We do have the new Promethean boards this year, and a lot of us know how to use them in a basic sense, but making sure that we know how to use them to their fullest potential. When you first turn on your panel, you'll use your power button. There's also two volume buttons. There is a freeze button that'll freeze your current image on the screen. So if you want to do something on your laptop, but you need your students to see what's on the board, you can freeze it. There's a touch button where you can take off the touch. I like to use that a lot because these things are very touchy and will move. So if you kind of need it not to move, but you need to be touching it, you can actually touch that and it will stop from being able to change anything with it. There's also your source button. This is where you can switch between your connected devices. So if you are connecting your laptop, this is how you'll get to it. This is your Promethean menu. This brings up all of the apps that are loaded onto the Promethean panel. So this is going to be your main button that you use to get to anything on the panel. So the Promethean panel is meant to seamlessly integrate with various educational resources, allowing you to leverage existing content and create dynamic lessons. Here are some ways to integrate your content. First off, you can web browse. So from your Promethean board, you can access the internet directly. They have their own Chromium app that accesses the internet, and you can display all those web pages for the students without even connecting your laptop. There's also a file import. So if you have files that you would like to be shown on your Promethean board, you can import your presentations, your documents, your images, and display them. And lastly, there's cloud storage. If you connect your cloud storage platforms, you can save and go through all of your files without having to actually email it to yourself or anything like that. The screen share button is going to be probably the most important for a lot of you to put your laptop up on the screen. There is a cord that you can use to connect it, but a little bit easier is the screen share. So you have a screen share app on your Promethean panel and one on your device. One of the cool things about that is you can connect to any Promethean panel wirelessly without having to take off somebody else's or anything like that. You can go to your neighbor next door and you can project on their screen, which is great for lesson planning and sharing and all of that. Active Inspire. So this is where we're going to spend the majority of our time today. So Active Inspire is a popular interactive whiteboard software, and it helps you create engaging lessons and activities. One of the cool things about Active Inspire is that once you have a free account, you can actually pull up resources that are already made and use them with your students without having to do anything yourself. So this is the simple steps to creating an Active Inspire account, which we're going to do work on doing today. For the sign up process, you're going to visit the Active Inspire website. The first step is to visit the official Active Inspire website. So you can easily find it by searching Active Inspire in the web browser. You also can find it through the Promethean website that most of us are already on because you use it to connect to your Promethean board every day. Locate the sign up button, and once you do, it's pretty easy. It'll just take you through a simple registration form. You can confirm your account and your link and your email address, and you'll be ready to roll. So some of the benefits of it is access to free resources. Like I said, there's a whole resource library out there that you can gain access to. And it has templates, different activities, different lessons, all kinds of things that your students can come up and actually engage with the board, which of course we want them to do because it gets them off their feet, gets them interacting, and not just sitting there being bored while you're teaching. So there's also cloud storage for your content, just like the Promethean board itself. Active Inspire allows you to store all of your creations in the cloud, so you can access them anywhere, any device. It doesn't have to be your own Promethean board. And enhanced lesson planning. There's actually a lesson planning feature in Active Inspire that you can use to lesson plan, and it actually makes it a lot easier. So creating and annotating lessons in Active Inspire. Lesson creation in Active Inspire is pretty easy. It enables you to create engaging lessons with things like text boxes, images, and multimedia. There's a toolbar that is actually very simple to use that uses You can find your text, you can change its color, change everything on there. Annotation, just like with the Promethean boards itself, you can do annotations on ActiveInspire. And saving and sharing. Obviously, these lessons can be saved. You don't have to keep remaking them. So tips and best practices. So planning your lessons, create a clear structure for your lessons before using ActiveInspire to ensure a focused and effective learning experience. Basically, think through your lesson before you go start the flip chart. Don't start a flip chart and then as you're doing it, keep trying to rethink your lesson, because you're going to end up with kind of a jumble in front of you that's going to be a lot harder to edit than if you make your clear lesson and then you go back and add your flip chart. Use variety. So you don't want every page on your flip chart to look the same. You want to use maybe a video on one page, and on the next page have an activity where they can move things around. On the next page, do an image with a voice recording. Change it up so that the students don't get bored. Practice beforehand. Familiarize yourself with the ActiveInspire interface and features before using it in the classroom. Don't just try and use it in the classroom. You're going to struggle a little bit if you try and do that, because even though it is very user-friendly, it's not something you want to pull up for the first time in front of your students. And lastly, encourage participation. The whole point of ActiveInspire is to have this interactive content, not for your students to sit in a desk and watch you teach. You really want them to be a part of the learning, to work on it, and kind of get to come up to the board or share from their iPad. We're trying to make it more engaging. So you really want to promote that participation so that they're not just sitting, because that's when they start to get bored and they start to tune out and not listen. And lastly is the Explain Everything whiteboard, which allows for more creativity than the basic whiteboard function. So on the Promethean board, there are 2 interactive whiteboards. I actually don't even have the other one saved on mine because I don't ever use it. So there's the basic whiteboard function, which you can write on and do some basic things. But there's also the Explain Everything feature. And with this one, you can add things from online as you're doing your presentation. You can actually change the background. You can insert new sticky notes, videos, YouTube, Google, and you can do all of this while it's up here for the students. So the students can do it as well. If the students come up here and they want to add a clip cart, they can simply click on clip cart and find what they want. So it makes it very interactive and very good for students. And that's what we're going to end today on, is just going through a few things that we can do with the interactive Explain Everything whiteboard. How do you access the ActiveInspire Resource Library? The Promethean website, the ActiveInspire computer application, or the Promethean tool? Oh, look, good job. And there's actually 2 answers. You also could use the Promethean website as well, but the Promethean board doesn't have it on its own.